This is Diana.
And this is Diana.
Chisme con propósito, porque si vamos a hablar, vamos a decir algo.
Si venimos por el chisme,
pero nos quedamos por el crecimiento.
Porque hablar se nos da,
pero reflexionar también.
Because if we're gonna talk, we're gonna say something. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, buenas noches, wherever you're joining us from.
Hello, everyone. We are back for season 2. Ya sé que nos tardamos un poquito, Diana.
No más un poquito.
I don't even know whose fault is it. Like, I don't know if it's mine. Honestly, let's blame Diana. Se tomó todo Gemini season.
I'm sorry, but it was my birthday. There's a lot going on. It was just a busy time.
It's okay. We're back. So as Diana always likes to say, give us grace. But since we took an extended break, we really thought that to continue our weekly chisme, we're going to give you like our chisme over the break. There was a lot, so it was really hard to narrow it down, huh, Diana?
It was. I feel like we had a list. So we're going to give you all the top 3 chismes that happened over this break. And hope that you continue to listen to us. We are ready. We're back at full force. So we'll continue releasing weekly episodes.
Yes. So my first chisme is that I got called in for jury duty. This wasn't the first time, but it was the first time I actually went. Initially, I was really excited because I was like, hey, I don't have to go into work. But then like Monday and Tuesday, I was like, this is fine. Like I was at home with my family. And then I was like, okay, if they don't call me in on Wednesday, like, ya me voy, dude. Tell me why fucking Wednesday morning, they're like, please report to the court at 7 a.m. And I was like, you son of a gun. So I ended up going in, and yeah, I ended up having to stay for the whole week just to not even get selected. So I was like, damn, I'm not even going to be able to like sit in front of like the judge and be like, you know, he's innocent. I don't support the your justice system. So that was my first chisme. My second chisme was I ended up running into someone from like a few years ago. And
¿Quién?
This guy that I met at a Halloween party like 4 years ago. And honestly, I kind of like, he was kind of like, you know, those guys que son bien creídos and they have such a huge ego. So you're like, I'm not going to enable this behavior. Like, I'm not going to feed into his ego. So whatever, right? Like I saw him, like I met him 4 years ago. I ended up running into him on Thursday. Tell me why this guy says that we have unfinished business. So now I'm like, on principle, I'm not going to finish the business. So that was my chisme for, that's actually my recent chisme of last week. But my recent chisme, hot off the press, I convinced Diana to go to a speed dating event. This is an actual speed dating event. So it's not like the one that we went to last time. And she was really trying her hardest to not do it.
I tried.
She was trying so hard. She was like, Diana, like, I'm just not in the mood. Y que no sé qué pedo.
I don't have it in me.
And then I was like, okay, I went to the website, and then tickets are usually like $30, but you get a free drink, which is why I had told Diana, like, you'll be down for this because you get a free drink. But the tickets, like, they had...
Dude.
Pues, I mean, se tenía que decir y se dijo. And the tickets were super expensive. Like, they had sold out, like, their general one. So then it was, like, VIP and you got 2 drinks. But I was like, no, that's, like, $50-something. So then I was like, you know what? Closed mouths don't get fed. So then I DM'd the people that organized the event. And I was like, hey, I'm trying to buy tickets. I have 2 friends. I'm like, there's 3 of us, 2 girls and 1 guy. We really want to go, but, like, we don't want to do VIP. And then they responded to me and they were like, hey, like, yes, like, we'll open the tickets for you. Just buy them in the next 10 minutes. So then I texted Diana and I saw that she was home. So I was like, okay, this bitch is not at work. And I texted her and I was like, code red.
And I was like, what is happening? I'm like, ¿qué pasó? And then she's like, get your tickets. And I was like, oh, shit. I thought, pensé que ya me había librado, that I didn't have to go because they were sold out.
They were. But I was like, no, I reached out to them and they said, buy your tickets in the next 10 minutes. And I was like, you better buy them because I literally told them I needed 3 tickets. Y me voy a ver bien mal if you don't get your ticket.
No,
So
y
that's
lo
a
para
recent
acabarla,
chisme.
you bought two of the girls, and then I had to buy a guy one. De lo like
Yeah, and
desesperada y emocionada, you bought the wrong one.
forgive me for trying to build a roster this summer, okay? But that's my chisme, y'all. We'll pass it to you, Diana.
I love them. I love them. But can you share a little bit of like what they were asking you like during jury duty? Because I felt like that was so interesting, the questionnaires that they were asking, just because I feel
Yes.
like maybe there's a warrant out there for me. I have not followed my civic duty and going to jury duty in the past. I will if I get called now, but in the past I haven't. So, what were they asking you that you didn't get selected to be part of it?
Yeah. So at first, like you went in and they kind of asked you just like a general question about like, if your job covers like jury duty, like
Mm-hmm.
if you've previously served on a jury before, if you have like any like family members or close friends in law enforcement. So very like general about just like the legal system. And then from there they like released like half of the group. Then we did a second questionnaire, and the second questionnaire was very specific. It was like, like what is your experience with like firearms? Do you own firearms? Again, like have you ever
Mm.
had a bad experience with like law enforcement? Have you ever been like in jail? Have any of your family members had a bad experience with like law enforcement? So again, that was like another kind of, I feel like they use it to like weed out people. So then
Mhm.
the following day, that's when they put you like in the gallery, and then they asked me questions. Like they were like, it was so funny because they tell you like, please don't talk about this. Oh my god, I hope the government isn't listening to this. But I literally
No,
immediately
because you
after I
weren't
left,
selected, so it's fine. You're
I
fine. We're
wasn't
fine.
selected. But I was like, immediately after I left, I was like, guess what the case is about. Again, the chismosa and me couldn't hold it. But when I was in the gallery, it was so funny because they asked me questions about, if I felt that the, district attorney did not provide like enough evidence,
Mhm.
would I still feel comfortable with convicting if it was like enough to cause like reasonable doubt or whatever. And then I
Mhm.
told them, I was like, to be honest, like I wouldn't feel comfortable if you do not provide like enough evidence, and I cannot say
Mhm.
like without doubt that like he's guilty, then I will not say he's guilty. And then the other question that they had asked me was if the what is it, like the state or whatever only had one
Mhm.
witness and the whole case was based on this one witness, like would I be willing to just use their statement as like
Mhm.
evidence? And I
Mhm.
was like, I personally cannot just take somebody's word for it, because it's just like, anyone could say anything,
Mhm.
and like why should I believe them if you don't have evidence to back it up?
Mhm.
And then the other question
Wow.
that they asked me that
That
was
one's
weird
hard.
was like, yeah, the other question that they asked me is like, would you agree that most violence happens like behind closed doors? That was like another question. Kind of like, I
Mhm.
feel like alluding to the fact that, like, okay, they only have one witness and then they don't have any evidence.
Yeah. And it
Yeah. So,
happened behind closed doors. Like,
hmm,
wow.
yeah. So, I mean, I did
Very
my civic
interesting.
duty, unlike others.
Unlike others. It's okay. I'll do it next time. Okay,
Bueno,
well,
pues, Diana.
my top three chismes. There's a few that I had on my list, so I had to pick the top three. But the first one is kind of a combination with a group of us. So we attended the Mexican Heritage Night, the Dodger game. That was in like late May, right? It was like a Tuesday or
Yeah.
Wednesday, I think. And well, one, I know star producer, she's the one that organizes and gets our tickets, and she got the wrong one, so we couldn't get the
It's not her fault.
jersey. It
It's
wasn't
not
her
her fault.
fault. I believe her que puso the code, but it just didn't go through, so we couldn't get the jerseys that they gave out. I mean, they're okay. But this is one of the first years que no que no la tiene, so that was a little bit of a bummer. But aside from that, I think leading up to the game, it was really fun. You should have seen Diana and I. We went to a bar and we were waiting for
No
others to get there.
business.
And we were working. Diana was on a meeting. I was like sending out emails. We were over here trying to like rally up before the game. So yes,
And
you
keep in
feel
mind,
you
we were supposed to take the day off, Diana.
okay. I said I was going to take the afternoon, not the day. Things come up. Things come up. Anyways, we both worked and then we rallied. We went and grabbed food at Low Boy. Oh my god, those like burgers that they have, they're so
So
good.
good.
So good. We had to make a quick stop at ay, ¿cómo se llama?
Bar
Bar
Flores.
Flores.
Wow. Ever since she moved to Whittier, dude, she totally
Ay.
forgot like where she's from. That's crazy.
Es que como ya no ando por esos barrios, pues se me olvida.
Ay, perdón.
Ay, no, no, no.
Hey,
We
esos,
went.
they used to be sus barrios, and now she says esos barrios. I want y'all to
Ay,
remember this.
no, 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 no. Todavía son mis barrios. They saw me grow up. Pero we went and took like a quick stop at Bar Flores. So then by the time, oh my god, and then the most fun part is that we took the Dodger bus. That was like one of my first time taking it. It was actually pretty cool. It saves you the walk up, the parking. It's free. I mean, we're standing up, but it was comfortable. It wasn't like crazy packed.
And Diana
Um
was chugging like a drink, so ni cuenta se dio.
También, I mean, I was living it up. But we went with some of one of our really close friends, former coworker, some of my sister, and then my sister's friends as well. So it was like a good group of us. By the time that we got to the game, pues ya estábamos, medio entradillas. Point is, we honestly don't remember the game. I think I remember
Yeah.
more like the "Let's go Dodgers, let's go," more of like the chanting that's done throughout the game. But if you were to ask us, who did they play against? Did they win? No
Nothing at
clue.
all.
Yeah, I know, y'all. We didn't do this right, but we had a really good time. We ended up going out afterwards, got home super late. I don't know how we made it through, but we survived.
It was rough, y'all. And we fit 7 people in Diana's Toyota Camry. That
Ay,
was
pobrecito mi carrito. No sé cómo pudo. But, we made
todo
it. We
por
made it
unos
happen.
tacos, dude.
Todos por unos tacos. Yeah, but that was a really fun night. So we definitely had to talk about that one. My other chisme is that it was my birthday, y'all. I am officially 34.
Ooh, 34.
34. Gemini season recently ended. I think 2 days ago it finalized. Yeah, May 21 through June 21st. But Gemini season was nice. It was beautiful. We did a lot. I threw myself a birthday party. Couldn't have
She
done it
did.
without my family. Me mom, she did her delicious comida. She made birria. We had one of our friends help make mole. One of my cousins made this postre that was really good. I
Oh
didn't get to
yeah.
taste it, but apparently it was really good.
It was
the,
very I tasted it and it was very good.
it was good. Okay. The cake was bomb. I ate cake for like the following days after my birthday. We had a grupo. A good amount of people showed up. It was really fun. So thank you to all of those that showed up. I'm officially 34, which is crazy to think, but we're enjoying it. It is what it is.
It's okay. After 30, it's like 30 until you turn 40.
Yeah. But I feel like I'm starting to realize that the 30s are way better than your 20s. I think your
Oh,
20s,
100%.
you're like right out of college, you're figuring it all out, like, oh, I have to get a job, I have to get a professional job, I have to make money, this and that. And then I feel like your 30s are better because like you're more self-aware. You do have the money,
Mhm.
right? Because you are now in a career. We may still make some of the similar mistakes, but we're more aware and we know better. So,
Yes. We have the
yeah,
self-awareness to know better. Do we do better? Not always, pero
not always,
at
not
least
always,
we
but we're
know. Maybe
trying.
we'll
At least
learn.
we know. Yeah. Oh, and my family came from Mexico. I had some family visit. My grandma, my tia, two of my goddaughters, and my tios too. So it was a full house, but it was really nice to see them after so many years. Okay, my other cheese. My other
Damn,
cheeseman really.
Diana. I'm
I know, dude. So much happened during this break.
kidding.
Yeah, and this is just personal, porque at work, a whole other
Oof.
monster. But I ran the old zoo half marathon. I didn't do the half marathon. I did the 12K, which is a little over 7 miles. But your girl struggled. My knee gave out. My left knee gave out within like the first mile. And I was like, I paid for this, so I'm going to run it. So I ran it in pain. I got it through. I only went over like 10 minutes out of like my previous time from running like a 12K. So not too bad. It was hot too. I did it with one of my good friends, and she did the half marathon. So shout out to her for running it because it looked rough. It was like over 3 hours. And, you know, no way I
I
could have done that.
know.
Yeah,
I
my
don't
kudos.
understand.
But yeah, that happened. And then my last one is that we attended a wedding. Diana and I went to one of our um colleagues wedding, and it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. And there was like a moment where they were like doing their dance, like their baile,
Oh, so
and then Diana
cute.
turns at me, and then I just look at her. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm crying over just looking at them because it was just so beautiful. Like they've been together for so long. They're high school sweethearts, and that the song that they danced was actually one that they did for a high school contest, a talent contest, and they won
Yeah.
it. So I just feel like there's a lot of history there, but it was beautiful. So I was crying at a wedding. That's my
She
last
was. I
one.
was like, "Are you really crying, Diana?" I'm like, "I
I
know."
know, me miro así como like, ay, qué vergüenza.
I was like, "Someone switch with me. I don't want to sit with her right now."
But yeah, those are our chismes, our top three chismes over the break. So definitely a lot more happened in between, but hope you enjoy some of what we shared out with y'all. Bueno, ¿qué sigue?
So now we're gonna talk a little bit about just like what's happening. I feel like, I feel like the world does not stop turning and like shit does not stop happening. But we also kind of, similar to like our last season, like we want to take this time to mention like some of the stuff that's happening like in the world. And
Mm-hmm.
some of these are like, kind of like news related, and others are more just like chisme, reality
Mm-hmm.
related.
Mainstream
But
news. Mm-hmm.
yeah, mainstream news. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about, which, if any of you are listening to us that live in like the Southern California, East LA area, you'll see that there's just like a lot happening, like, in the area. I think one of the ones that we wanted to talk about was like the Lineage fire. It was a fire that started last Wednesday, June 17th, in Boyle Heights on the
Mm-hmm.
14,000 block of South Los Palos Street, and it's currently being controlled. It was controlled, but then it reignited last Friday. And over the weekend, you could see the thick black smoke all over LA, which is so crazy, dude, because this is happening like in
Mm-hmm.
the city. And then this was also
Mm-hmm.
caused by solar panels. So it's also
Mm-hmm.
been like an interesting conversation to see online,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people are like, oh, like it's the solar panels, but like everyone wants to go
Mm-hmm.
to renewable energy. But it's like, okay, you guys are not focusing on like what the issue is. Like, why do these things keep happening in like working class communities? Like, you don't see this stuff happening in like West LA
Mm-hmm.
or in like
Mm-hmm.
affluent
Beverly
areas,
Hills. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Beverly Hills. And I think also like it kind of brings, I think, I don't know if you've been seeing a lot of like the conversation online where like some people were calling it like the Palos fire because it's like on Palos Street.
Mm-hmm.
Other people were calling it the Boyle Heights fire. And then I saw people like mention like you need to call it the Lineage fire because that's the name of the company that like the
Mm-hmm.
warehouse is at or like owned.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you have to like make sure that like you are acknowledging like who is currently like,
Mm-hmm.
quien tiene la culpa in a sense. And I was like, oh,
Exactly.
that's so true. I put like my
Mm-hmm.
sociologist hat and I was like, words matter.
It does, it really does. And then now that company is sort of pointing fingers at the subcontractors that were working on the
Mhm.
solar panels on the roof. So they're saying like we rent out and subcontract the roof, to this company. So they're pointing fingers like there. And the crazy thing is that I think it was in one of the reports that I read that this happened, I believe, 2 years ago. So it's not new. Like it happened
Mhm.
2 years ago where it also like started like a fire, but I think this time around it definitely got really bad. And the smoke, the thick smoke that you can see over LA was insane. And then with like the wind is pushing it into like just, like different like directions. So there's like a whole zone, right? Different like neighborhoods that are being impacted because the smoke is carrying all of those particles,
Toxins.
right? Yeah, toxins, right? And we're all breathing that. And who lives within these communities, right? That are being impacted. Um, so it's just, yeah, we just wanted to acknowledge that. And it's crazy to see that continuing to happen. Like, I feel like over the last few years or years so, we've seen a lot of these uh environmental, like, I guess, impacts, right, happening within our
Yeah.
communities because of like AI, because of like solar panels, right? And let's not even get into like all these like data centers and what they're causing, right, to the nearby communities when it comes to like the water systems and all that. So just something to keep an eye out for y'all. And I really like what you said, like kind of like paying attention to what it's being called, because you're right, like we need to call it what it is. Like this is their responsibility.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we'll keep y'all posted on that one because I feel like this is going to be like a continuing kind of like issue. And I think one of the other things that they were mentioning was it's like a storage facility. So there's like a lot of
Mhm.
food que like,
Mhm.
se está echando a perder. So once
Mhm.
they, figure that out, they're gonna have like a whole other challenge. So it'll
Yeah.
be we'll be keeping a close eye on it. Who am I, dude?
Definitely.
Jesus. So the
All
other
right.
thing that yeah, go Diana. I was getting excited because I just watched the episode.
I feel like this is all you porque yo no I
Ah,
haven't
you
seen
got
it.
it.
No sé ni qué ondas with this. So, you take it away.
Okay, y'all. I just want to. I was like, Diana, I'm like super hyped right now. Love Island is back, y'all. Since we took a break, live Love Island returned. I'm gonna be short with this. The couples really pissed me off. I wanted them off my fucking island. They were doing the most. They were doing the most. I wasn't even watching full episodes, dude. I was just like watching clips on Instagram and like
Mhm.
TikTok, and I was like, I already hate these couples. Like, I'm not rooting for any of them. Then they really switched it up this past
Mhm.
weekend when they split up the couples and they brought in Casa Amor. All I want to say is like y'all need to watch Love Island. I think I this might have to be its own segment because I could really
Mhm.
go into this. But I just want to say Love Island is back. If you're going to watch it, just start on episode 17. Like don't even watch the other 16 episodes. Just start with episode 17. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for
Wow.
that, Diana. You gotta hop on the
Okay.
train. I talk about it with my students. I'm like, did y'all see last night's episode? So good.
I'll give it a try. I don't know. I mean, I didn't even finish watching that other season, that other show, the college one.
Off
I can't
campus?
even. I know I never finished watching
Oh
the
my god,
last.
that's
I
another.
know
That
I'm
should have been
terrible.
another thing to talk about. Oh my god, that show was so good.
Ya ves, ni sé cómo terminó. I just watched it up
Oh my god,
to see like episode 8, maybe. I
Diana,
know. I
I
know.
need you to lock in.
Es que I'm. Ay, no sé. Es que ya no creo, dude. Ya no creo por eso. All right, that's another topic. But something else we also wanted to talk about is that, as you know, the academic year, school year ended right for students. So there was a lot of graduations that happened early this month. I did have also my nephew graduate middle school, throwing it
Oh
out
my
there.
god,
He's so
how?
grown up. He's so grown up. But one of the commencements that we want to talk about is that your girl, Becky G, was actually a keynote speaker at
Mhm.
UC Santa Cruz Chicane Latina Year End Celebration. So that was definitely something that took us by surprise. It was Becky G and also Olga Talamante. So they were up there inspiring our graduate students and delivering uh, a keynote speech. Ay, no puedo hablar.
Yeah.
Speech.
Yeah, and it's so exciting. I mean, I feel like we really want to talk about this because, we've mentioned that we are banana slugs. We
Mm-hmm.
went to Santa Cruz. And so I think it's very like exciting. I feel like it makes me very proud to be like an alumni of like Santa Cruz, to really see that like our students are like represented. And I think also like I know the director for El Centro. So I think it's also like
Mm-hmm.
really nice to see all the amazing work that she's doing with like her students and like at like in the Santa Cruz community. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel very proud and very happy, and I think it's so nice to have speakers who are like
Mm-hmm.
inspiring. And I think Diana has like a different view on like what is inspiring and like who takes these roles. But I
Mm-hmm.
personally feel like, when I think about like, and we have an episode where I be like bashing on Becky G because I'm like, why did you take him back? And I stand by that, 10 toes down.
Very
But at
much
the same
so
time,
too. Yeah. Yeah.
but at the same time, I think that she, regardless of that, she is
Mm-hmm.
like representation for like a lot of Latinos. And I think
Mm-hmm.
especially like a lot of like Latinos, a lot of like Mexican Americans, who are like children
Mm-hmm.
of immigrants. And so I think
Definitely.
it was really nice to have her just kind of show up and
Mhm.
be like, hey, like I'm out in this world and I like represent our community. And as like you go out into the world as like,
Mhm.
graduates, like you also are a representation of your community.
Mhm.
And also don't forget that like you didn't get there alone.
Mhm. I
So
mean, there's power in seeing one's lived experiences reflected on stage, right? And I think that's what she's very good at doing. I mean, she's definitely an advocate for like mental health awareness, for supporting our immigrant communities, gender equity. I've seen her do like some runs and races like around the LA areas and communities. My only comment was that I think within like her career base, like her music career, right? She's obviously at the top, right? She's doing really well. But then my critique was at these commencements, like, don't we also want to have someone that, went through a similar experience as far as like going to college, like getting a degree? And that's where I need to also check myself because I don't even know, did she go to college? Did she get a college degree? Um, but I just feel like the people that are going up and being like a keynote speaker and like speaking to these graduates like should share a similar experience of having to go through the struggles, right? Of choosing your classes, getting through, what is college and the ups and downs, and can really, I guess, resonate with that journey as well. So that was my only critique. But again, she's amazing. She's doing a lot of great work. So I'm not mad. Just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah.
she's like, I'm just gonna share my humilde opinion.
Mi humilde opinión.
So the other kind of like news was that the Knicks won the NBA finals. I am not a sports girly. I do not watch sports. I only watch sports when there's chisme. And because it was the NBA finals, there was chisme.
There was
So I
chisme.
was very invested. I was like Knicks in 5. I was, oh my god. I was at the bar watching the fucking game. That's how invested I was. I was like, I need to see.
Wow.
Yes,
Okay.
dude. I know. I was like, give me another drink. I was like, oh my gosh. And of course, the only game that they lost was when, you know, Trump was there. That was literally the only game that they lost. So I just feel like he was bad
Mala
luck.
suerte.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
absolutely.
Salado, salado. Because then after that they like won, and then I started getting invested in just seeing like the players and like their background and their history. And honestly, I think out of like the Knicks winning, I think it was so beautiful to just see New York come together for their team. I feel like there was a lot of kind of negative talk where people are like, oh my god, it's like a war zone out there. But then I was like, did y'all see how people were getting in Koreatown last Thursday? Like, it's a war zone anywhere there's a lot of people.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. I guess there's always the lighting up of like cars or buses,
Yes.
turning, flipping over trash bins. Yeah, it always gets like that anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
So,
right?
but
I don't think so. I feel like there's different ways of celebrating,
I
but I
agree.
get the excitement. Yeah.
Yeah, like I wouldn't set a car on fire, but I mean, pues cada quien. Uh, but no, and I think also like I love Mamdani. I am obsessed with him. Like, oh my god, he's
Mhm.
just such a great mayor. That it's just like the way that he just like garnered like the support of
Mhm.
everyone, and like,
Mhm.
oh my god, I just am obsessed
Mhm.
with him. So Knicks in 5, y'all. Knicks in 5.
Okay. And do you know how the Lakers are doing? I feel like I haven't heard
Who
much
cares about
around
the
the
Lakers?
Lakers.
Exactly. That just tells you how much they suck.
I know. Yeah, don't hate us. We're clearly not that invested in
Clearly not.
sports. Like we're not. Like we're amateurs over here.
100%.
Okay.
I was like, is this a Super Bowl?
All right. One of the last things that we also wanted to talk about is, I feel like every week, every month, we're like, it can't get any worse. We're okay. We're gonna get through this presidency. It's gonna be okay. But there's been a lot happening,
Mm-hmm.
y'all. So I'm just gonna quickly just kind of highlight what has been happening. Um, but a few of the things that did come up during kind of like the break is that under the Trump administration, they have like fired or really like forced out between 100 and 200 immigration judges as part of like a sweeping kind of like purge of the nation's immigration court system. And this is because a lot of these judges have granted like asylum, right, to different like people. So there's articles out there, interviews out there where how some of these judges who have for years been, in their careers and they're experts in that, have been fired or are getting like targeted, right, investigated as well. So just something for you to keep a lookout for. Something else under this administration is that him really, it's really him, right? I guess when I say that, I refer to him and like, his administration, is that they've pretty much been stealing like our money. There was like something that recently came out around like a massive settlement between the Justice Department and Trump,
Mm-hmm.
and it resolved his personal like 10 billion lawsuit against the ARS. So then the lawsuit alleged that his tax returns were unlawfully leaked during like his first like term. So then the administration established a nearly 1.7 billion like fund.
That is
So
crazy.
that is crazy. That's a lot. And I think there's just been a lot of like critiques around like the way he does things. It's very much business and money making for everything. And on top of that, did y'all see the ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous like UFC fight and like presidential celebration that he had? He was like celebrating his 80th like birthday, and then it was I think America's 250th birthday as well. So they hosted like this UFC Freedom 250 event on the south lawn of the White House. This was like a huge, like, stage structure type of like event. And
He
then
ruined the lawn.
um he ruined the lawn. Yes, it was massive. And then it was ridiculous. And then a lot of like what these like fighters were like saying was crazy. They even had like the audacity to talk about like former first lady, oh my god, I'm forgetting her name.
Melania?
Obama's wife.
Oh, our
Oh
girl
my god, why
Michelle.
our girl Michelle Obama, híjole. It's
You did
late,
not
y'all.
read her
I think
book.
my energy is like going down. but I don't know, I think a lot of like what they were like portraying just wasn't healthy. It was very much like this fight thing. Honestly, it was stupid, it was ridiculous. And yeah, and then the last thing that this administration is doing is that they have the audacity to be investigating our governor, Gavin Newsom, and his like wife and some of the inner circle. Like the DOJ, the Department of Justice, they're investigating them, looking very closely at like all of his personal and professional finances, his taxes, nonprofit
The
organizations,
audacity, bruh.
just everything they're looking at it. And Newsom's all like, dude, pero no le van a encontrar nada. Newsom was all like, come at me, you're not gonna find anything. So
I love
we're
Daddy
standing
Newsom.
behind him. He's gonna be okay. But but it's just crazy everything that this presidency continues to do. And there's still, you know, a lot of detention centers. There's still ICE is still out in the community. They have not left. They're still kidnapping a lot of our community
Yeah.
members. So just continue to keep a lookout, because I feel like when we feel it's sort of like cuando te sientes a gusto and you're like, okay, we're fine. It's when, you know, we get hit with one thing after another. So
Yeah.
that's our kind of like our little quick summary of what's happening. Obviously, we can dive deep into each of these, but we'll leave it at that. Okay.
Yeah. And I feel like, we'll continue to share the news, but I think the biggest kind of takeaway is like, y'all like pay attention to what's happening. I mean, obviously, like, there's some good stuff that's happening, but I think also like have awareness to know that like, there's other stuff happening and like you need to get informed and you also need to show up and like just like, see how you can help if you are in a position to help others. But okay, so
yeah,
I can't believe we're already at 36 minutes. But before we end the segment or like this episode of like our return back into recording, we also really wanted to talk about the World Cup. Liana, what do you think?
Woo!
She's like, nothing. I think
It's
nothing.
been really fun. No. I've been trying to keep up with all the games. I'll be honest, today that I was working, I had like my iPad on the side, and I would just kind of like glance and be like, okay, who made a goal? That Portugal game today was crazy. I was like, wow, there's I think what I've also just realized, there's a lot of talent. Like, Jesus, some of these players, not only are they young, but they're so talented. Like their stamina, how they run, how they're able to move. I'm just like, I could never. Obviously, también pues no están guapos without white light, because of course. But yeah, it's been really fun. I think a lot of the watch parties have been really cool. We went to one last week for like the Mexico game. There's another one coming up tomorrow as well, and just in different like cities. So if you're able to go, I would definitely recommend it because they get fun.
Yeah. And am I naive to think that like I have a shot with some of these soccer players? 100%.
No,
I'm like, perhaps.
no.
I don't know, dude. Like,
Perhaps
they're just perhaps. I don't know, but I agree. It's also. I feel like I remember watching the World Cup when I was like younger. Like I remember watching it when Chicharito just barely like was starting his career when he was playing for Las Chivas. And so it's kind of crazy because I think now as I've gotten older, like I view it a lot differently than I did when I was like younger. And I think it also like makes me more aware of just like the community like that, come together because of like their love for soccer. I know, like, for example, I am definitely not invested in the World Cup for my love of soccer. I will admit that. But I definitely am invested for just, being around like people in the alboroto. I think for me, something that's brought me like a lot of joy is just to see, like, I was telling Diana about this today, like Iran's team, like the fact that, like, again, because of our horrible, like, government, they were not allowed to stay in the US. And so Mexico, since the World Cup is being, shared with like, or not shared, but it's being hosted by Mexico, the US, and Canada, like Mexico les abrió las puertas para que se quedaran en Tijuana. And so I think it's like so beautiful that like, as soon as like Iran got to like Tijuana, like los mexicanos ya estaban allí, like, haciéndoles porras. I was telling Diana that they started like one of the, I think, I don't know if he's a captain. Oh my god, he's so cute. I'm like obsessed. He was doing an interview, and then he
Mhm.
was saying like, oh, like, I love like los mexicanos, like, I
Mhm.
feel so welcome. And then he said that like every time they get back from a game, there's like a bunch of people waiting for them to cross, and then that they
Mhm.
say like, Iran hermano, ya eres mexicano. And I think
Aw.
that's so beautiful, right? Because I
Mhm.
think that that's what makes Mexico very unique. I think it's like,
Mhm.
which is such a contrast to like the US. I feel like the
Mhm.
US is something like, they're really big on like otherizing and like really like, being very divisive. And I
Mhm.
feel like
Mhm.
Mexico, I think, is like a really great example. And again, I think that might not be for everyone, but I think in general, like it's such a good example of like what it means to like really welcome like, foreigners into your country and like show them, like your costumbres and tu cultura y tu
Mhm.
comida without like making them like feel bad or shaming
Mhm.
them. But I think that's been so like beautiful to like witness. I think out of all the
Mhm.
countries, no es por nada, no es porque sea mexicana, but I think that like out of the three countries that are hosting, I think Mexico is like, you know, top 10. Like, oh
Top
my God.
10, top 10. Yeah. And there's a huge like Mexico fan base. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think I saw something that came out that the Mexican jersey is the most sold
Mm-hmm.
within like Adidas. And really like it's the community, the pueblo, right? Everyone that makes these games fun and that supports yeah, that supports the team. Yeah.
Yeah.
There
No,
will
honestly, it's
also
been great.
be a there will also be like a women's World Cup. I think my sister told me it's happening next year. I'm gonna get that wrong. I'll have to come back and correct myself. But we also gotta support like the women's World Cup as well because that one's gonna be good too.
I just don't know if it'll be as entertaining.
It will. It will.
I mean, I feel
uh,
like if women are playing, I'll definitely pay more attention to the game.
yeah, you'll
Cause
get to
you know,
learn. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
something
but
else about like these games that has been like really interesting. I think now that I'm older, I'm able to like just understand everything so much better because like before it was like, pues qué es fuera de lugar o qué es like que se están adelantando or whatever, right? But now there's so much like technology, like the referee view. I don't know if you've seen some of like the
when they do the
clips
replays,
of like the replays of the referee views. It's insane like how close you can like see how the players cuando se pegan or whatever when they score like a goal. My sister was telling me that there's I guess within like the portero, like where they score the goal, they actually
oh, they
have
have
like
cameras.
sensors all around. So then the referees will get notified if like the ball fully goes in. Because at some of these games, like they've scored, but they haven't been given the point because they've been like fuera de lugar, like by centimeters, or like
Mm-hmm.
the ball didn't completely at one of the games, the ball didn't completely go in, so they didn't count it because it wasn't fully in. So it's just crazy, like to see all of that with the technology and just the huge fan base as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy because yeah, like whenever like I'll see like I think it was like the game I was watching that one time que les quitaron un gol era Iran. And then like
Mm-hmm.
they literally like had gotten the goal and then they take it away from them. And I
It was
swear to
so
God,
sad.
in my head I was like thinking, I'm like, lo compraron. Compraron ese ref. I don't know if you ever went to like if like you played soccer or like I had like a lot of cousins that played soccer growing up
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
they would be like, es comprado el ref.
Yeah.
Loki,
But
I
they
was feeling that
are.
way.
Some of them definitely are. I would go to soccer games and yeah, they will pay the referees for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
not a fan of that. But no, yeah, it's honestly been like great. And then even I think just seeing I think some teams like come up that have never played before. I think one
Mm-hmm.
of like the I think some differences with this World Cup is one, like they've kind of changed some rules, like the hydration breaks. Get them off my screen. I
Yes.
like what the hell is that? Like Can't they
You
just go
don't
get
like
water when
them?
they're thirsty? No, I don't.
Why? Well, no, because okay, so there's been like critiques around that because on one side, I think it's like Fox, like they've actually been taking advantage of their hydration breaks
Of course
to
they have.
give like different commercials, so it's like money making time, right? But then others like Peacock and Telemundo, like they actually continue to show like the players. I feel like that's good. I feel like it's important for them to take a break, a hydration like break. Like I think it's all related to like mental, physical health. No? Is that
No,
just
you
me?
know what? I was seeing an interview from Mbappe, who plays for, I think he
Mhm.
plays for England, and he
Mhm.
was it Mbappe? I think it was. And he was saying that like he kind of doesn't like the hydration breaks because sometimes they do it like when they're locked in. And then he's like, what if we're like locked in and like, do it playing really well, and then you give us a hydration break and like all the momentum that we had is like lost.
I
And I
can see
agree.
that. Yeah. I can see that.
So,
But they have a whole game ahead of themselves. So it's like you'll
yeah,
get
no,
that
no.
momentum up. You can recenter yourself and have more
Mm,
energy.
that's
It's
not how
like,
it
when we
works.
take like a nap, like when we take a 25-minute power nap, like it's beautiful. We power up again
I
and we
can't
can
take
go.
naps. Oh snap! He plays
He plays for
the
France.
the the producer has told me that he plays for France, y'all. As you can see, I don't really watch sports. Forgive me. I hope not all the French people come for me, or I guess they can.
They can. It's fine. It's fine. ¿Qué nos van a
I'll
hacer?
allow it.
Nada.
Well
But
then,
we'll definitely continue to talk more about that because the games. Well, I have tried to keep up with the games. Some of these teams are just super like impressive to watch, and I'm also keeping an eye out for like who is Mexico going to play with. Changuitos, que
the
por favor
stress.
ganemos, por favor. Please, we have to move forward, but there's some pretty good
I
teams out
don't
there.
know. They're saying that like there's a chance that if Mexico wins, they're either gonna play against Cape Verde, or I think the other one was it Switzerland. It's like some
Oh,
European
Switzerland
country.
is good. Okay.
So
Ay,
I don't think my boys are
prendan
ready
sus
for Swiss. I don't
velas,
know.
pónganse a rezar, vayan a misa.
Yeah, we'll see cómo nos va mañana. But I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting. I think it's a great way to like come in community, and I'm really excited to see, what the summer brings with the World Cup.
Yeah. Bueno, pues, well, we've come to an end. We want to say thank you for coming back and continuing to listen to us. We'll be dropping our weekly episodes if you want to keep hearing more about just what's happening in our lives, our weekly chismes, more in the news. We also have more topics this second season to just go into. So thank you for listening to Chisme con Propósito.
Yeah, and stay tuned because we also are planning to have a couple of guest speakers. So I think it'll also be nice to
Ooh.
get some guests to join us and kind of talk a little bit more about themselves. We want to thank you all for listening to Chisme con Propósito,
Where the tea is hot.
the takes are unfiltered,
And somehow we still make it make sense.